Okay, both are going.
Good morning, everybody. This is episode 330 of the OotiniCast. Yes, I'm a little distracted. I was having technical difficulties myself, so all appears to be well. No doubt something will go wrong. That's probably... Just tell me, is that too loud now? I just increased my volume.
Sounds good, but
About the same?
yeah. Oh, no, it sounds louder.
Alright, cool. Alright, now, I don't think there's anything we need to talk about beforehand. There's only the one tip of the week, so another easy win, so we may as well just head straight into it.
All right. Let me get in the right spot here. I'll go in 5.
Shut up as well. Oh, and tweet. Yes, tweet.
Always good, yep. Excuse me. I need a little water. Okay.
All right.
Now I'm going in 5. Hi, and welcome to the OotiniCast, the podcast that's been running scams on the street since it was 10. This is episode 330, being recorded on Thursday, March 29th, 2018. I'm your host, Jill, with our producer and co-host, Tio. Hi, Tio.
Hey, guys.
And returning guest today is Blay. How you been, Blay? What you been up to?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Well, in-game, usual stuff, really. Nothing really changed. Been doing quite a lot of operations, normally on weekends.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of flashpoints. And basically ranting about Conquest, which I think I'll come on to a little bit later on, because, oh my word, as some of the changes frustrated me and really, really annoyed me. And
Okay.
I'm not even a big Conquest person. It's not something that I sort of like actively come into the game to do. It's something I haven't done for a very long time, and then I heard, oh, there's these changes. Oh, I gotta give that a go. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Probably gonna have a good rant about that at some point tonight.
Excellent. We'll look forward to that, mate.
But apart from that, same old, same old.
All right. How are the cats?
One of the cats was next to me just now. I don't know where he's gone, which is quite scary. So yeah, all fine. Large, still wandering a house like they own the place. So
They do, Blay. They
yeah,
do.
the one has worked out now how to open doors.
What?
Quite
What with
scary.
their paws? Just kind of...
Yeah, if you check out their Twitter account, you'll see a video of the door opens just a crack, and then you see this paw coming around, hooking onto the door and pulling the door open.
I
It's
see.
like,
That's funny.
Okay, you're safe as long as they don't work out doors. And now they've worked out doors.
Right.
So, yeah, danger.
Excellent. All right. Tio, how about your week?
Well, not much to report because zero gaming, lots of study, lots of work, and lots of family. The usuals. I would like to say that over the last couple of weeks, my opinion of The Last Jedi has somewhat mellowed. I listened to a discussion on one of my favourite podcasts, which is The Geek's Guide to the Galaxy. Where they cover all kinds of science fiction, usually interviews with various authors, but they also cover films, and they get a panel discussion, and yeah, I just feel better about it. Some glaring plot elements, which I mentioned last time, still bother the hell out of me.
Okay.
But overall, yeah, I can see where they're going now, and why not? Sure. We'll see how they wrap it up. Now, I've been hearing all kinds of stuff about Solo, which, as we know, is coming out late May.
Yeah, that's where I got the quote from this week, from that trailer.
And I don't know. I guess my expectations are being tempered by what I'm reading. I don't know how seriously you can take that stuff just because of the chaos that led up to Ron Howard stepping in as the director, yada yada. But I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's an interesting. It's very interesting just because it's so different from any other movie that's been out there so far.
Yeah.
I mean, even like Rogue One was like really designed to be tightly, tightly knit in with the, original
Right.
movies. Solo does seem to be, more standalone, and and it's now EU, so it's not canon anymore. But the Solo trilogy was so famous that I think the fact that this is going to overwrite that is in some way, or maybe follow it. I don't know.
Let's hope they farmed it at some level, because you're right, that was a good trilogy. I enjoyed
yeah,
those
exactly.
books.
It was a good story, and it gave you essentially his whole life, and at least in some places in broad strokes, but his whole life, right up to the point where he walks into the cantina where he's gonna meet Luke and Obi-Wan. So it's so basically anything this movie does is going to presumably change some of that, and but it was done so well that it's going to be hard for at least people like me who know those books to make this changeover in my head. But the trailer looks fun. I mean, if I'm able to sort of distance myself a little bit and just sort of take it as it comes, and enjoy it as what it seems to be trying to be, which is just sort of a rollicking adventure story, then I might be okay with it, and then we'll see how it goes from there.
Have you either of you seen Ready Player One? Speaking of movies,
I have not. I saw A Wrinkle in Time, actually, which is more of a kids movie than I thought it would be. I thought it would be kind of more along the lines of like the Harry Potter movies, which kids can watch but are perfectly fine for adults. A Wrinkle in Time really felt like a kids movie, in sort of like the old style. It felt very old-fashioned in some ways because of that, which is weird because it's also, of course, heavily CG. I liked some things of it, but overall that movie didn't work for me. But I did not see Ready Player One.
what about you, Blade?
I don't think it's out in the UK yet.
Ah, okay.
Double check,
Yeah, it's not
yeah, I think it's out soon, but I don't think it's come out yet.
just come out here, so I haven't seen it yet either. I love the book.
Mm-hmm.
Though I hear the 80s nostalgia gets a little overwhelming. But since I grew up in the 80s, it's all fine with me, I guess.
Right.
Anyway, nothing else from me. Over to you, Jill.
Oh, okay, great. Let's do a shout out to the chat room. And let's see, let me pull this up here. Sorry, I'm usually better about figuring when you're about ready to wrap up and I have the list ready, but today you managed to catch me by surprise, and it's actually taking longer. It's like giving me the little circle. Oh, there we go. All right, here we go. I'm vamping, obviously. Agent Irons, exactly. Agent Iron Spider is here. Anu is here. Blay is here as Blach Gaming. Dekion is here. Hey, Dekion. Electrical Skateboard, who watches Chill's Room a lot, which is awesome. KJSMLD is here. R2D2 Arm, Squitchy Twitchy, Swordmaster, and Working Class Nerd 17. They're all here. And let's see. I thought there was a question. Working Class Nerds was just kind of wondering what time it is where you are now, Tio.
It is 9:20 in the morning.
Not bad.
You're on the east coast of Australia.
Awesome. All right. Well, in game, let's see. I finished up on Smuggler Chill Sable, so he's done all the way with Kotfi and Kotet. I guess I could have gone on to do the Ikoth daily missions and then the 2 flashpoints that are attached to it, but I decided not to. I've done them very recently, and I was getting ready to move on, so I did stop him at the end of Kotet. I used no XP boosts along the way, so he didn't ding 70 until pretty late, like somewhere in Kotet. I don't remember the exact chapter. Maybe somewhere around maybe the party chapter, something like that.
Yep.
So yeah, so only a few chapters of actual like level 70 gaining gear and all that, and the double experience didn't make much difference either, because I think I was like level 68 when that happened, So it was like really not relevant in terms of the leveling process. So yeah, if you don't use any XP boosts, you do the class story and the simple world arc on each planet, and then do Makeb and Ilum, Rishi, well, the Prelude, and then Rishi and Yavin, Ziost, then Kapfi and Kotet. You don't need to do anything else. You'll be level 70 before you finish all that. I also
sad.
Yeah, I was not even in the guild on that character. Still isn't, actually. Didn't really matter one way or the other after a while. I found that there was a few like requests to join random guilds on the starter planet and on the capital world, Coruscant in this case. And then there was only like maybe one or two all the way until I hit 70, and then there was a few more once I hit 70. I think there are some people who are running /who's that involve like level 70 characters in some way, or maybe they're going to Zakul or whatever, looking for people who are non-affiliated. But yeah, I wasn't like inundated with guild requests like I thought I might have been. And I was kind of curious to see like how it affected the leveling process. So I finished that one. So I've started another cosplay leveling character. So this time on the Empire side. So I'm going to see all the Empire world arcs again for the first time in a few years. And this one's Chilcroft. So it's Lara Croft. She's a mercenary, of course, because I needed the 2 guns. And so she's just starting out. No XP boosts, although I did actually join the guild today. And I'm pretty happy with how she looks. She's pretty, I think she's about as accurate as I can get in the game so far. And I have a screenshot of her. And yeah, so that's been pretty fun so far. And yeah, she's going to be arms tech, and like I say, no XP boosts other than the guild. So that's like 10% because we have the 5%, and then we're a big enough guild that we have the other 5% as well. But I don't think it's going to make a huge difference, but she'll probably, gain level 70 a little bit earlier, but it'll be good to see all the world arcs again. I just did the Order of Revan line on Droman Kaas, so that was fun to see for the first time in quite a while. Right. And it reminded me that one of the people you talk to when you do that little line is the voice actor who is Lana later on. Now that it's not the same character, certainly she's a pure-blooded Sith who is one of the Revanites that you talk to, and she's like the dark side one. She wants you to bring the mask of Revan to her so that she can, like, quote unquote, prove that Revan was all dark side, and then, or if you're doing light side, you'd bring it to this other guy who wants to sort of, keep the mask away from her and sort of, help espouse the line that Revan was both light and dark. So you can
was
do
she
either
a
way.
cranky old woman, or am I misremembering?
No,
she was a pure-blooded Sith and dark side, so cranky in that sense.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's definitely Alana Benico's voice, which is awesome. Right. So, and it's funny. It's like, not only do you recognize the voice, but it's like, yeah, it's like she's really good. I mean, she only has a few lines of dialogue, but she really, and a lot of voice acting in SWTOR is really good. But you can see why she had the quality to come back as sort of more of a feature player later on. So, yeah, that was pretty awesome. So she's anyway. Chilcroft is now most of the way through Coruscant, and it is reminding me like how much longer it takes to do a planet if you're also doing the world arc on it, because it's like it's more than twice as long. It's even longer than that, because of some of the arcs are a little bit longer than the class arcs, and then there's the additional running around and all that. But it is fun. I'm enjoying it. So
you're not even doing the side missions, are you? It's just the world arc.
Not all of them. Yeah, I've hit a couple of them. Interestingly, it's like I've been looking for like the purple world arc, triangles, and they're not always there. It depends on the world, I think. So I've been doing like some of these little side missions, trying to find the sort of the main world arc. But yeah, it's all good. So yeah, so I'll be working on that, and so far so good. And she's doing, like I said, mercenary, and it's what's it called? Innovative Ordnance is the spec I'm trying. Neither of them really felt super Lara Crofty or non Lara Crofty. It's just so I just sort of picked the one that I have not had as much experience with because I thought it'd be fun to sort of get good at one that I hadn't done. Yeah.
You did well with her appearance.
Thanks.
That's not bad. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. They don't really have a dye for like the weird color that Lara Croft's shirt is in the video games. It's sort of like this light bluish green, sort of this light aqua color that just doesn't appear as a dye. So I've been looking around, and unfortunately there's like a brown and gray. There's some brown and grays, but none of them are quite right. Like the brown on this vest is like what you want. It's kind of like, leather brown, basically. None of the dyes, even the deep brown or the dark brown, neither of them are nearly as dark as this. And then the secondary color, just I could go with white and it was okay. There's gray and that might work as well, but it didn't quite work. So I just took it off, and this is actually the Canderous Ordo shirt, and then it's the I forget what it's called. It's basically I can't remember the name of it exactly, but it's the one where like if you take all your characters' clothes off and you strip them down to their underwear, it's basically that, only it's dyeable. So it's some sort of basic trunks, I think it's called. Something like, female basic trunks or something very close to that. And it's the same thing as when you have your underwear on, only it's dyeable. So in this case, it becomes the Lara Croft brown shorts. And then I chose a belt that has like the two leather strappy hanging down things. Nothing that I couldn't find anything that sort of does the wrap around the thigh sort of thing that you see, but this is sort of like the closest thing you're going to find in Star Wars, I think. And it's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it.
As far as that color goes, you could, if you worked out the RGB value, you could put a forum post in and ask whether BioWare can add it for you. Because it's just a color.
That's true. They just need it. Yep. All right. Well, that will bring us to the tip of the week. And there's just one tip of the week, so I'm going to go ahead and read it. It's from Sayela.
Sayela?
Yeah. I was going to say Sylvia, but there's no V in there, so it's Sayela. Hey, OotiniCast, new sub to your station, and just love what you guys are doing. Thanks. Thanks for taking the time to entertain us out here in a galaxy far away. Here's my tip of the week. Want to join other party members in their instance, but don't know where everyone is? No problem. Once in a group or op, easily transfer to any party member's instance by right-clicking the appropriate player's name in the group or operation panel and selecting Shuttle to Instance X. Thanks again, and may the Force ever serve you. So she's a Lana Vanico fan, apparently. All right, and so by non-random allotment, since there's only one, the winner is, of course, Sayela. And congratulations on winning your Tonfon or M83R droid pet code, courtesy of BioWare, and an OotiniCast-provided cartel market pack from the latest shipment. If you'd like a chance to win the same, please send your tips to OotiniCast@gmail.com before the next show. And that will bring us to the holo feed. TL?
Quite a bit to go through, a lot of it conquest related, so this will be the opportunity for Belay to tell us exactly what he thinks about the changes, which went live with Game Update 5.8. But first, just a quick mention, when they post on the forums about when the maintenances are going to be, they always use Pacific time, Pacific Standard, Pacific Daylight, depending on the time of year. And someone said, why do that? Because BioWare is located in Austin, Texas, and they're on Central. And the servers themselves are now all on the east coast of the US, which is Eastern Time. So no one is actually Pacific except for the players who happen to be on the West Coast. And he said it's just an easy way because wherever you are, you can always add, in the US at least, 1, 2, or 3 hours and you can work out your time zone. It's just a reference, that's all. And they're not going to change it. So,
okay,
fair enough. All right, let's get to the good stuff. Game Update 5.8 was released a couple of weeks ago now. It introduced Isaacs, which obviously we've already talked about in previous shows. The final boss of Gods from the Machine. And they released a short trailer called Command Authority. And if you watch that...
I did watch that.
Yeah, you can see just how big Isaac's
Yeah.
actually is. So Musco wasn't kidding when he was talking about it on the stream.
Yeah.
Wow. Though, oddly enough, after I watched that on YouTube, the video that came up, auto-played afterwards, was Is Star Wars The Old Republic shutting down in 2018? Which is a bit unfortunate, because just YouTube just threw that up all by itself. So, yeah, there's nothing new there, by the way. Nothing new. It's just rehashing old stuff. All right. Now, in Game Update 5.8, as alluded to already, the Conquest revamp, which if you've been playing, obviously you already know about. New interface, the changes for guilds for every size. Our improved Conquest system now provides challenge opportunity and rewards for all guilds. We've probably pretty much talked through what they were going to do in the last show. We'll go through a few of the details and where they're going with it, because Keith has subsequently posted. Were the changes coming short term, that some were already made in Game Update 5.8a, which we'll get to, and more changes coming in 5.9. And remember, if you beat Isaacs on Veteran difficulty, which was tuned as Master Mode, effectively Nightmare, you will get yourself that special Legacy base reward and an exclusive title. You've only got until the launch of Game Update 5.9, which they said would be early May. So not long, and I don't know how many players have actually beaten Isaacs on Veteran yet. I guess anyone out there, let us know. I assume some guilds will have, just because they're that good. Alright, let's see. Now, other basic stuff. Firstly, Blade, do you want to talk about the Conquest interface? And what do you think, basically? It's pretty much as they described.
Yeah, the interface itself isn't too bad. What I found really confusing was knowing what was daily repeatable, what was always repeatable, and what wasn't repeatable. There is an icon on there that will tell you that information, but it wasn't sort of like in your face obvious about it. So it took you a while. It took me a little bit of experimenting to actually work out that things like the blue one, it's repeatable but only once a day, and the orange one is repeatable multiple times a day. But some of the missions which are repeatable multiple times a day, you just like, do I really want to be doing that multiple times a day anyway?
Chasing that cheese around the maze.
I'll talk about some of the sort of missions that they had in the first week. So the first week was Gree week. So you'd think that doing Gree event on Gree week would give you the most bang for your buck in terms of actual points.
Conquest points, yep.
But for example, you only had to do one of the missions from the daily Gree event to get your points for the day. There was absolutely no point doing all of them. There's no point doing a weekly. You just did one, did the fast one, and that was it. That was your points for the day.
Okay.
Just seemed a bit. So it's things like that which I thought was a little bit strange in the decision. I would have thought that they would have made you do the entire sort of Gree event. Plus, then there was also that strange issue with the which in the notes where you kill pretty much anything, anywhere, anytime. I was like, yay! You get the the achievement for killing the bosses. Or nail them.
Oops, yeah, bit of a glitch there.
Yeah. So I did my my tweet on that one, where it's like, and you could be
I saw that.
and you can be Sorek, and you can be Sorek, everyone can be Sorek. Yeah, it was just absolutely crazy.
So what do you think about getting now credits, XP or CXP in addition to the Conquest points? Have you noticed the amounts? Is it substantial?
It was about 6k off the top of my head for completing getting the 20k's worth of Conquest points. I think it was about 6k.
Half a regular mission kind of thing.
Yeah, it was better than kicking the teeth. It wasn't sort of wow, just got up multiple levels. It's about the same really as getting a weekly done for your Master Mode Flashpoint, something like that. But yeah, it's decent and really, I'm glad they put it in because it should have been there because otherwise it would have left Conquest out of the whole sort of, if you're trying to grind CXP, why do Conquest if you're not going to get stuff for it?
Right.
It wasn't it wasn't enough to make me think, oh yeah, I'm going to come in and I'm going to do my Conquest in order to get that CXP. Because if you work it on the model that they previously talked about in terms of time spent to get the points, I would say there's far better things to do to get the same number of points and certainly the same amount of credits.
Right.
You can get more credits than what you got doing that mission quite easily. But if Conquest is something that you're doing in between stuff, then yeah, it's okay then. It's not something that I would say, okay, I'm going to do my weekly on Master Mode, I'm going to do my weekly on Veteran, and now I'm going to do my Conquest points in order to get CXP. I just wouldn't do it.
Okay. The daily objectives, there was a clarification that they are once per legacy, not per day. Once per legacy per day, so not per character. A lot of people complaining about that because obviously they have alts, and so only one alt can click up those points essentially.
Oh yeah, my word, did I rant about that one. I did calm down about it eventually, but effectively, right? It's like rip alts, rip multi-guild, rip multi-faction, because once you've earned those points on your legacy, that's it.
For the day, yeah.
Right.
Those points are gone, and it makes it really hard then to sort of try and do Conquest on multiple characters, because when I was in my first guild and we were doing Conquest, we'd only do Conquest once a month, and we'd all sort of arrange, okay, on this week that we're going to really try and push for Conquest. And we were a small guild. There was probably only 14 people contributing any Conquest points to the guild. Of those 14, there's probably 7, 8 getting the weekly, and of that 8 or maybe 10 getting the weekly, and of that 10 getting the weekly, you're probably talking about 4 or 5 who were really pushing it. So I a couple of times I think I managed to get about 1.2 million points on my own by just running alts. And I think the guild leader, I think he held the record the one week for selling 1.6 million points, and this wasn't even in the days when we kind of cottoned on to the crafting thing and just slamming crafting. We were just going in, just doing every single. It's like Balmora. We would just go in, do every single heroic on Balmora, switch tunes. Every single heroic on Balmora, switch tunes, every single, and we were just absolutely slamming it and just doing flashpoint, and just racking up the points that way. But now, yeah, there's no point doing that, because the second that they make sort of like doing a daily flashpoint as a daily repeatable, because it's legacy bound, that's it. You do it on one character and bang. And I know they are talking about trying to make them so that it's the multiple repeatable. If they do that, then that effectively means then that there is no legacy issue, because if you can repeat it multiple times a day, then so what if it's legacy bound? You've only got one legacy anyway. That's effectively unbound.
Right.
But to have something that can only be done once a day and have it done on a legacy and have it done some stuff is just no. It just makes it really alt unfriendly, multi-faction unfriendly.
It's certainly something that they're aware of, and it sounds like they may actually change it, though they obviously haven't yet.
I'm really hoping they do, because that was the kind of thing that really sort of made me think, okay, I'm only going to do Conquest now on one character. I'm going to get my 20k, or I know it's been reduced now, but I'll just get my one tune through, and that's it. Because I'm not a big crafter. If I get my points, I get my points to doing content rather than just sitting clicking a few buttons and then logging back in about 2 hours' time and get my points that way. So,
Well,
yeah.
crafting isn't as valuable as it used to be, apparently.
No, and I know there's been a lot of complaints. We can talk about it a little bit later if you like, but one of my concerns is that I know what their objectives is, and I know that they're trying to stop the really, really large guilds from just rolling over everyone every single week. I'm not sure if a lot of the changes that they've done will necessarily do that, and I think some of the changes that they've done is quite punishing to small guilds, because as active as the guild I'm in at the moment is, there was absolutely no way we were going to hit the yield for the first week.
We do have something on that later, because they are aware of that too. All right, let's just get there. Someone asked whether, at the moment, it's 3 planets that are invadable each week. Someone asked, will it ever be increased? And yeah, maybe, but at least for now, they're going to stick with the 3. That's the low, medium, and high in terms of the threshold and the associated rewards. The higher the threshold, the more rewards you get, depending on the planet that you pick. Let's see, we already know about that.
The one complaint I got about that is that they've turned around and they've said that a planet which is small yield will always be small yield, and a planet which is large yield will always be large yield, which means that if you're a small guild and you can only go for the small planets, that's actually limited the number of planets that you can possibly get the title for.
Oh, I'd assume they just swap it around.
Nope.
Okay.
No, there was a dev post. So unless they've changed that, there's a dev post from and Eric said, well, a small yield will always be a small yield, and that's quite limiting then for.
So Bamara, for example, will always be a small yield, say.
Yeah.
That seems a little odd.
Huh.
Yeah, it's quite disappointing, because if the missions that you got to do in order to get that planet is the same, then it gives you a lot less variety.
Yeah.
Than what you would have had.
In that case, it must be something they can change as far as that goes. Unless the conquest objectives are planet-specific.
Not sure.
Yeah. All right, let's quickly move on, because we haven't got that much time. All right. Vendor selling special Isaac's deco. No, I want to skip that. The visuals for various classes' flurry attacks have been updated to be more accurate with their scrolling combat text, hits, and misses. Have you guys noticed this?
I'm a healer.
Yeah, alright, something to look out for.
If you... yeah, interesting idea.
If you're someone who plays the GTN, as Bill used to do, the tax rate has been increased from 8%, up from 6%. To combat credit inflation in the galaxy. So, that's a bit unfortunate. Now, remember, when you post something, you don't actually get anything cut if it doesn't sell, but if it does sell, they used to take 6%, they will now take 8% of the sale value.
Right.
So, doesn't that mean that people just increase the price?
Sure. Well, that is the logical way that sellers respond to the market signal. So, the price signal, yeah. Corrected in... No, I doubt anyone will bother. Just for 2%. They corrected an issue which was causing some relics to provide higher bolstered stats than intended. Yet another exploit of the bolster system. It's just the gift that keeps on giving, isn't it? Always something. So this time it was relics, but that's fixed too. Maybe it's now balanced again. Who knows? And there is a bug that killing random NPCs will grant conquest kill credit for the Gree bosses.
Right.
And this will be fixed, but it's not something they're ever going to action as an exploit. So knock yourself out until it's fixed, I guess. While the Gree event is live.
There's no way that they could punish people for that one, because it's not something that you can control. You can't stop. The only
Yeah.
way to stop yourself from doing it is to not play the game. Because if you kill any ad, as far as I'm concerned, I was doing False Emperor, and I came up to the first set of mobs on False Emperor, killed the mob, bang, got the achievement, both bosses, awesome. So there's just no way to stop it.
Game update 5. In game update 5.8, the solo ranked mission rewards. Remember they upped them all back in game update 5.7. They sort of reverted them with 5.8. They are back now in 5.8a, but for a week they were just back to the very low values. The main change was granting a whole lot more unassembled components for ranked and for solo PvP ranked daily missions, and for the weekly as well. Oh dear, they've got to be careful with that configuration management stuff. Alright, let's just talk about what they're going to change with the Conquest. So, I mentioned this earlier, some changes coming in 5.8a, which are here now. A lot of the rest are coming in 5.9, but some are coming elsewhere. Here's what you receive. This is just a quick summary of what it is now as part of the revamp. What you receive now when you and your guild complete a conquest is a large amount of credits and CXP. That's via the completion of the objectives. Personal rewards, including crafting material, credits, and more. Invasion rewards, including crafting materials, credits, encryptions, and more. Rewarded to all guilds, not just the top 10, who meet the invasion target, that was an awesome change. So any guild can get over the threshold, get some prizes. Some of the things they're planning to address, objectives and their points. Yeah, if you look at the thresholds, as Blay mentioned, it's really hard for a small guild even to hit the small planetary target. And they are going to reduce them from 460,000 conquest points for small down to 200,000. So less than half of what it initially was 5.8. For a medium planet, it was 1.38 million credit conquest points needed. Now will be 550,000, and large, it was 2.5 million. It's down to 1,130,000. So basically less than half in all cases what it was originally. And that may have gone live actually.
I think it has.
Yes, and all those changes are live right now as of game update 5.8a.
It doesn't sound much, but 460,000 is effectively 23 characters completing their weekly. And that doesn't sound like a lot, but actually for a small guild that is.
Well, something they mentioned was that the larger guilds, and they were saying that's because the higher targets were so high, were just going for the small planets anyway, because it was just easier. So, as you said, it completely missed their intention, more or less, of forcing, or at least giving an incentive for the larger guilds to go for the larger objectives. They just didn't bother. They went for the... Well, let's hope that lowering those thresholds makes a difference as far as that goes.
I think the only thing that will make it different is, A, if they rotate the planets around so that there's no incentive for the large guilds just to go for the small ones, just to get the achievement for the small ones. They could just wait until it comes around onto that planet on a large threshold, and actually making the large, or the prize for completing the large, good enough. Make it significant enough and they'll go for it. At the moment, I get the feeling that a lot of the large guilds just think it's just not worth it.
Right, and they do talk about the actual rewards for the medium and large need to be greater to further incentivize the guilds going for it.
Right.
There was there was a whole lot of missing objectives for PvPers, and those have been added as of game update 5.8a. So you will now get conquest points for completing a war zone, winning a war zone, completing a GSF match, or winning a GSF match. So not just winning a war zone, actually just participating will get you conquest points. Well, they're actually conquest objectives, so those are all going to be satisfied via that. Oh, your personal conquest has also been lowered. It was 20,000 down to 15,000 conquest points. So you'll be able to hit your personal target that much easier as well. Or the crafting, as I mentioned, crafting has been kind of nerfed. The invasion forces are now something you right click on and they give you a bunch of conquest points rather than having objectives associated with them. Again, they're saying that, well, we're just going to wait and see on this one. So they're not going to change it, at least short term. There's some confusion about the UI, which Blaze specifically mentioned about the iconography to do with which of the objectives are repeatable or daily or whatever. So they're going to clean that up and add some tooltips, always useful. And they're going to be adding some objectives for flashpoints, which were not added in 5.8a. Looks like they're going to be coming later.
There were... Well, you could get some points for doing flashpoints. It's just... My whole sort of argument or sort of idea that I have for operations and flashpoints is that I'm not a big fan of the fact that you can just do a war zone and get some points, because there's no equivalent in PvE.
Right.
You've got to actually complete the operation in order to get any points. And what that meant, and there was a lot of guilds that were effectively building a team to get to the last boss. And then once they get to the last boss, they'd all come out, split then, and then
Right.
use
yeah.
each person's lockout
Yeah.
to just do the last boss, and then
That's
get
clever.
all the points. Yeah, it's very clever, and it's a great way to game the system, but it is gaming the system.
Yeah.
And what I'd like to see them do is change it so that you get points per boss.
Yeah. Or make
Rather
the
than-
objective based on hitting each boss or ticking off each boss.
Yeah, but what it means then is if you're in a group that doesn't manage to complete the operation, you'll at least get some points
Some points.
for doing as much as you have done.
Yeah. That is even better. Brilliant, Blay. Brilliant!
And they have a bonus for doing the last boss, and just to stop people from going in and just doing the first boss, coming out and then switching, just doing the first boss all the time, because first boss on something like Ravengers, you're there with no ads, you could do that really, really quick. What they should, in my opinion, what they should do is have more points, less points for the first boss, more points for the second, more points for the third, more points for the fourth, and then a bonus if you complete the op. And just do it that way. And then they could do that as well then with flash points, where they give you points for doing it, because at the moment, I could go into a war zone, do absolutely nothing, just mess around, run around like a loon, not contribute whatsoever, and I'm still going to get points.
Yeah. Now, next, to address the problem with alts, what they're going to do is they've already lowered those thresholds, which doesn't really help, but they are adding a bunch of repeatable objectives extra, or making more of the objectives repeatable or whatever, which means that, unlike the daily ones, which were per legacy, the repeatable ones you can just do as often as you like on whichever character you like. So this is all happening, but some are already in 5.8a, more coming in 5.9.
I am going to be patient. I'm not sort of like saying, that's it, I'm never going to do Conquest ever again. I'm going to be patient, I'm going to give it time. But I don't know if I would want to give it as much time as what we had to give the whole sort of command thing when it first came in, because I basically almost shut the game down for 2 months while I waited for him to sort it all out and make it so that you could actually get to level, to 300 without having to basically pack in my job in order to do it. So
Worth waiting for.
Yeah.
It did take them a while to get it right, though.
yeah, it took them a while, and I know that they're not going to get it first Conquest right first time, and I'm going to give them time. I would sometimes like to see them make small changes, small and often, rather than come in with this massive wham bam, thank you ma'am, all encompassing first change, and then go, yeah, right, we got that wrong. Let's change it back. And I'm hoping that they don't bow too much to the pressure of people to put Conquest back exactly the way it was before. Because if they do that, then they've achieved nothing in terms of stopping the large guilds from just rolling over absolutely everyone. So I'd be interested to see how this plays out and how it gets changed in the future.
Now, just a couple of bugs that turned up in 5.8a just recently. So changes in companion stats and abilities, they're looking into it. They haven't said what the changes were, good or bad, probably bad if people are reporting it. And the cost of removing mods and augments has gone up unintentionally. And they are going to fix that in the future updates. So you may want to hold off pulling any mods out of your gear, at least for a little bit, because you may get ripped off. And obviously they will never recompense people for that. Let's just see if I missed anything. Now, there were some changes to the cartel market. There is a sale on, where is it? The cartel market limited time sale from Tuesday, April 3rd through Tuesday, April 17th. Almost every cartel market item in existence, as in anything they sell right now, will be available for direct sale. Maybe there is an item you've been waiting to see in our weekly sales, or just don't want to throw credits at it on the GTN. This will give you an opportunity to scoop that item up.
Yes,
so
I will be doing
actually
this.
Mean everything, as in stuff that's in the entire loot table, essentially, for all of the cartel crates.
Sounds awesome.
Wow, that would be a... I hope you know the name of what you're after, because you're sure as hell not going to find it by browsing, because it's so so much stuff. Wow, all right.
Brought that search in.
Yeah, there's definitely some stuff I'm going to get that way.
Cool. The next cartel market pack is called the Ultimate Pack. That should be available now. And they're playing with the packs again. This one contains 4 slots. The first 3 slots can contain any item ever released on the cartel market, including the new items coming in Command Authority. So it's basically a crapshoot, which you get.
So, yeah. Very similar to a Grand Chance Cube, then?
Yes, exactly right. Slot 4 will then either contain scrap, companion gifts, or a die module, and dies being in slot 4 is a big change from how it worked in the older packs.
Sounds right, yeah.
The pricing's gone down, so 200 cartel coins per crate, or you can get a 10-pack super crate for 1900 and a 30-pack hyper crate for 5400 cartel coins. So I'm assuming this is just kind of an ancillary pack in addition to the normal ones, because there's no new stuff in this, is there? I guess they have added new items in 5.8.
My only
Right.
concern with this is they seem to have painted themselves into a corner by calling it the Ultimate Pack, because you can't go up from that. That's it. That's it. You know, it's like, you know, we're at the top now. We're at the threshold.
And yeah,
What
it also
are they going
includes
to do next?
yeah, it includes future items too. I mean, it really is just a way of buying multiple Grand Chance cubes at a time, I guess.
Yeah, essentially. So I assume they'll have regular packs as well, and this is just like a special one. Like yeah, it's sort of like a mega Grand Chance cube.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
okay, sure. Well, yeah. They could have made a gold Chance cube. Are there one of those? Anyway.
I don't know. No, there's those gold like weapons and stuff like that for the different types, but yeah, not for Grand Chance cubes that I remember.
I guess they couldn't, given the color reflects the quality. That would just get confusing. Okay. And everything gets removed at the end of the sale. So if you don't get it during the sale, which is April 3rd through April 17, it just goes back to being in packs like this Ultimate one.
Okay.
Collection costs, are still reviewing them. There are no plans to lower them. So if you want to unlock something in collections, don't hold it. Don't wait. It's not going to change apparently.
Okay.
They are overdue for a collection sale. Next one is planned for May. All right, so maybe you should hold off at least until May, until that sale when you go to unlock stuff. All right, that's all the direct SWTOR news. Anything else you want to bring up before we move on to the more general stuff? All right, well, this is kind of related to BioWare. It's actually a kind of good news story about EA, believe it or not. This is Aaron Flynn. Now, he joined BioWare back in 2006, apparently, though he's referred to as a 17-year veteran. Anyway, he left and was replaced by Casey Hudson as the general manager of BioWare. So he started off as a programmer these days, or he was the general manager. July last year, he actually left and was replaced. I think we may have mentioned it at the time. He was the director for Anthem, and he was replaced by, well, Casey Hudson, who had left previously. Casey had returned to the fold, as it were. Now, Aaron Flynn, who had left, was being interviewed by Kotaku. It's an audio interview, but the guys from Kotaku interviewing him were saying they asked Flynn to name a common misconception about how Electronic Arts operates, EA operates. And they ranted a little bit about the misguided decisions they've been making, Star Wars Battlefront 2, Andromeda, that kind of thing. Ultimately, what Flynn said, and he would know, being sort of pretty high up in the organisation at one point, I guess the biggest one would just be, don't think that there are these edicts about anything like that. It's never a case that it comes down as like, thou shalt do this. It's quite an open company in his experience. I've had this privilege of having conversations with folks in very senior positions about the status of things and things like that. And again, these are conversations we have. It never goes that way of thou shalt do this and thou shalt do that. It's never that. It's always, look, what do you think we can do? This is what we're trying to achieve. Can we do this? Do you think we can? It's more that than it is anything else. It's unfortunate when things don't work out, and that's tough, and everybody should be held accountable to that. And that's how it works when you're in business. But it's not the case that there's some power-hungry monster at the top. So he was pretty clear about that. And all the actual evidence that you see, you may have conspiracy theories, but there's no reason not to believe that that's exactly how it works. Look at SWTOR as an example. They have said all along, they're pretty much left to do what they like. They are obviously given objectives from the higher up. Thou shalt make money. Right, so there is at least that directive. You can't avoid that. But they seem to be allowed to try all kinds of stuff. Putting Keith in charge, he's taking the game in new directions. Prior to that, the whole story thing, they're allowed to try all kinds of stuff and see what works. And as long as they make money, it's a business, everything's cool. So EA aren't like dictating thou shalt screw your customers, but they do have to make money. So, yeah. I thought that was kind of cool. Speaking of Casey Hudson, who replaced Aaron Flynn as general manager of BioWare, he commented on Drew Capition's departure, which we mentioned last week, because people are concerned about the story impact on Anthem, which continues to be developed. And Casey said, story will always be an important part of every BioWare game. It's their DNA after all. Drew has wrapped up his work on the project, but Anthem's lead writers and their teams continue to do amazing work developing the world, story, and characters. If you're curious who those writers are, there was a comment on the Anthem subreddit, revealed that Kathleen Rutsart and Jay Turner, that's a familiar name, whose previous work combined includes Mass Effect, Star Wars The Old Republic, Dragon Age Origins. So there are still some fine BioWare writers working on Anthem, even though Drew has moved on. He does seem like a bit of a free spirit, you know. He seems that if you can't tie him down for too long on any one thing. So anyway, plenty of fine writers at BioWare, including Courtney Woods, obviously, Charles Boyd, and others.
I think that's how I like my authors. Bit of free spirit, go off, do their own thing.
Indeed.
Be creative.
Now, this one's pretty cool. Electronic Arts may be working on an open-world Star Wars game. Now, there's a whole series of articles about this, but they all come out of this one job advertisement on EA's site. The actual role was for a lead online engineer, and the specific phrase was... where is it? The recruit would work on online features for a Star Wars open world project. And then they took that wording out. So, as soon as the internet went nuts, they said, oops, and they fixed it. The job advertisement is still there, but that part has been quite carefully changed. So anyway, that was a bit of a gotcha moment. So clearly, and this is for EA Vancouver. Now, oddly enough, remember that Visceral game that Amy Hennig was working on that just went terribly wrong and they shut down the studio, etc., etc. It was mentioned at the time by their CFO. No, it was Blake Jorgensen. Let me get his role. Who is the Executive Vice President in charge of Worldwide Studios, overseeing all game production. And he said that the Visceral project, or at least the art assets, etc. from it, was being moved to EA Worldwide, principally EA Vancouver. So there's your connection. It's all pretty obvious, isn't it? So they have taken... You're not joining very many dots here. It's all kind of clear. Whatever the Visceral project was, it was some kind of single-player thing. They are converting it into an open-world Star Wars game. It is in development, and no doubt has a long, long way to go. So this may eventually replace Star Wars The Old Republic, because it's probably set in the current era. But if it does, I would guess 2 years at the very earliest.
Oh, yeah.
Could be terribly wrong, but...
and it could be much more than that, yeah.
yeah. So I wouldn't be too concerned about SWTOR at this time. Hell, even if it does launch, it'll be in the current era. And why not keep SWTOR running as well? Because it's in the Old Republic, which is completely different. And someone else pointed out there was no mention in that job advertisement of the Frostbite engine. But the online engineer could just be doing back-end stuff, so the actual game engine is irrelevant as far as that goes. But, yeah.
Right.
Geez, I could apply for this.
You could. Why
A
not?
lot of this. Yeah, anyway, no. In Vancouver? Not that there's anything wrong with Canada, but anyway. Alright, last bit of Star Wars news. This was related to A New Hope, Episode 4. And this is Mark Hamill talking about why Luke sounded so whiny. Remember the line about got to collect those parts from Toshi's station? But I was going into Toshi's station to pick up some power converters. More or less was the line.
That's pretty good, actually, yeah.
Yeah, I do whiny quite well. And then Owen says he complains about being told that he can waste time with your friends when your chores are done. Something like that. So anyway, this is what Mark Hamill had to say. It's funny that you mentioned Toshi Station. I thought we might only be able to make the first film, the original A New Hope, because the second and third parts were predicated on how well the first one did. So I said, I'm going to have to make this as juvenile as I can, so there's room for growth. Remember, he was quite young at that time. And I sort of wanted to make it sound like I had 4 sisters and 2 brothers when you'd be in the car and they'd say things like, you said we could go to the mall. So I wanted to give it that flavour. It was cringe-inducing even at the time. But he explained to George Lucas that I just said to you, and he said what I just said to you about his reasoning, and he said, okay, just do it. Little did I know that it would haunt me for decades. In fact, Empire Magazine said that the top Luke Skywalker moment of all 5 movies is that line. That's when I knew that they didn't know what they were talking about. I was so insulted.
He's always got a good sense of humor.
Yeah. Anyway, so I thought that was nice. Anyway, that's the news.
Interesting. Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. That's good to know. All right. That'll bring us to the Force Feedback, where we read your tweets and emails. And first of all, thanks to our latest Utini patron, Jason Dobo. Thank you, Jason. Appreciate it. And let's see. Johnny Born to Eat Bacon tweeted at OotiniCast. You know you've been missing these, especially Tio. I just know he has. Hashtag Star Wars humor. And it's a tweet from Darth Vader at Depressed Darth. Very well-known Twitter account with millions of followers. What do you call a 5-year-old Asian Jedi? Youngling. And there you go. Yes. So.
Vaguely culturally inappropriate, but
yes.
You get it.
Right,
and as Johnny later said, if Star Wars humor doesn't result in a groan, it just isn't done right.
Right. So he subscribes to the Star Wars as dad humor sort of trope. So let's see. Although sometimes I try to tweet or Facebook at you, Tio, when I find something that's genuinely funny and related to Star Wars. Sometimes it gets in the show, sometimes it doesn't, but it's not always dad humor. Let's see. then let's see.
Oh,
What
you want me to
this
talk
link?
to this one?
Yeah.
And there's also this thread on Twitter. So I saw a response from Master Bear Jedi, the original, to a tweet that Leland Chi, who's in the story group at Star Wars, said, "I just realized that I have this horrible condition where I have to stop and read Arabesh writing whenever I see it." And so Master Bear Jedi responded and said, "My dirty ass wants to learn to read this language so bad. Hey Jason Etheridge, that's me, when you going to offer some kind of online class for this?" And so I responded by saying, "Use the trainer," which I wrote long time ago. You can find it on OotiniCast.com. If you search for Learn Arabesh, that's the first link that should come up. So,
Nice.
And Leland, she responded, "I wouldn't bother learning the combo characters. We rarely use them as they're not part of the fonts we use internally." Oddly enough, I did not include the combined characters. There are some combo characters, like for TH or something, there's a single letter in Arabesh.
Right.
But SWOTOR never uses them. They just use the straight one-to-one. And apparently the story group doesn't either. So how about that? My trainer continues to be used and accurate in terms of being able to read Arabesh.
Yeah, lovely. I keep thinking that I should go back and brush up because I have. It's been a while, and I'm starting to lose some of the letters. So it sometimes takes me quite a while to puzzle things out. So I need to brush up.
Me too, actually.
All right, and finally, grats to Sashari, who's a SWTOR streamer and all-around good guy, who is getting married today. So congratulations.
Congratulations, mate.
Congrats.
Yeah. Let's see. And was there anything else, Tio?
Anything on the chat room you wanted to cover?
Let's see.
Aaron Flynn sounds like a good name for a swashbuckler. Very funny, Blaine. Swashbuckler.
I'm quite sure, wasn't there an actor called Aaron Flynn or something?
Errol Flynn.
Errol Flynn.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Very close. And I'm sure they were swashbuckler, weren't they?
Yes, that would fit the definition. Anything else you want to bring up?
I think we're good.
All right.
All right, then. That's a show. If you'd like to play with us in the Utini Knights Guild on the Republic side of the Satil Shan server, or in our Guild on the Empire side, do a /c join Utini to join the Utini channel. Then let us know you're a fan of the show. You can email questions and comments about the show to utinicast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter using @utinicast. You can find contact details for all of us on our website, utinicast.com, which includes how to subscribe to us using iTunes, Stitcher, and the rest. We record the show live semi-bi-weekly on Thursdays, usually at 4:30 p.m. Pacific. Go to utinicast.com/live to find out how to join in. Our theme song is Doomsday by Jean-Paul Zogby. Thank you to the chat room, and thanks to Blay.
Cheers, guys. Always fun. And thanks for listening to me while I just rant about Conquest.
You're welcome.
And we'll see you next week.
All right, guys, keep recording. Everyone else, thank you very much for tuning in. We'll be back in a couple of weeks, most likely. So may the force be with you and or serve you well. Take us out, chill.
All right. Stopping the stream and stopping